All right, today we're jumping into one of philosophy's real heavyweights, existentialism. But look, we're not going to just give you a dry definition. Nope, we're here to answer its biggest, toughest questions, one by one. So let's just dive right in. You know that feeling when you kind of look out at the universe and it just feels empty, indifferent? Like there's no grand plan or built-in meaning for any of it? It's a pretty terrifying thought, but it can also be kind of thrilling, right? Well, that feeling of staring right into the abyss, that's exactly where the existentialist journey begins. So you've stared into the abyss. Now what? That's the real question, isn't it? Once you've faced that void, how in the world are you supposed to live? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to give you the tools, the big ideas from existentialism, so you can start figuring out your own answers. All right, first up, the big ideas. Let's get right to the fundamentals by tackling the questions everyone asks.
Okay, let's start with the million-dollar question. If you had to boil this whole thing down to its essence, what is existentialism really?
Okay, so here's the core of it. Existentialism says you are not born with some pre-made purpose. There is no instruction manual for being you. You just show up. You're born as pure potential. And then, through every choice you make, every action you take, you literally create your own meaning. Your destiny isn't some script written in the stars. You're the one holding the pen.
All right, here's a huge misconception we need to clear up right away. A lot of people hear all this create your own meaning stuff and think, okay, so this is just for atheists, right? They figure it automatically kicks God out of the picture. But is that true? No, not even close. Existentialism actually works for both sides of the coin. For an atheist, it's about building meaning and values from the ground up, in a universe without a divine plan. But for a religious person, a theist, it's a powerful way to explore the human side of faith and what it means to choose belief. See, the focus isn't on God or no God, it's on the human journey itself. Okay, now for what is maybe the most famous phrase in all of existentialism. And yeah, it can sound a little confusing at first, but trust me, this is the absolute bedrock of the whole thing.
So existence precedes essence. This was Jean-Paul Sartre's whole deal. But what on earth does that actually mean? What is he trying to tell us when he says our existence comes before our essence? This is actually way simpler than it sounds. Just think about a pen. Before that pen was ever made, someone had an idea for it, right? Its purpose, its essence, was to write. So its essence came before its physical existence. But for us humans, existentialists flip that script completely. You exist first. You're just here. And only then, by living your life, do you figure out and define what your purpose, your essence, is going to be. So it really boils down to two simple steps. Step one, you are born. That's your existence. Step two, you create who you are through your choices. That's your essence. Simple as that. You're born and then you build yourself. You are literally the architect of your own soul. Okay, so being totally free to create yourself, that sounds awesome, right? Well, hang on, for existentialists, this freedom isn't just a party. It's actually a pretty heavy burden. Which brings us to another one of those famous, kind of weird-sounding phrases, condemned to be free. I mean, that sounds like a total paradox, doesn't it? How can freedom, the one thing we all say we want, be a curse? Well, it's because of what they call radical freedom. And what that means is you can't escape it. You have to choose. You can't just opt out. In fact, even trying not to choose, guess what? That's a choice too. And every single one of those choices, big and small, is actively shaping who you are. And that responsibility, that's all on you. Exactly. No excuses. You can't just blame your parents or your bad luck or society. At the end of the day, you made the call. And the weight of that responsibility is yours and yours alone. No excuses. Okay, I can hear you now. But wait a minute, what about all the things I can't control? And you're right, we don't choose our parents or where we're born or the things that happen to us as kids. So how does that no excuses thing work? Well, this is where a cool little concept called facticity comes in. Facticity is just a fancy word for the raw deal. It's the unchangeable facts of your life, your past, your body, the family you were born into, all the stuff you can't do anything about. And existentialism isn't trying to deny that. It's saying, yep, those are the cards you were dealt. That's your starting point. But here's the absolute key. You are not defined by your facts. You are defined by how you choose to respond to them. That's where your freedom kicks in. So let's say you have a desire for a drink. That's a fact. But you get to recognize it, interpret what it means to you, and then freely choose what to do about it. You get to rise above your circumstances. You transcend your facticity through your freedom to choose. Okay, so we've got the core ideas down. Now let's put it on trial. What's the verdict on existentialism? Because believe me, it has some serious critics and some die-hard fans.
First, let's look at the case against it. What are the biggest complaints people have?
Well, for one, critics say if everyone is just making up their own rules, doesn't that just lead to a world where anything goes, a totally selfish morality? Another big one is that for a lot of people, the idea of a meaningless universe isn't freeing, it's just depressing. It can lead straight to despair. And maybe the heaviest critique is this. All this talk about radical freedom sounds nice, but it kind of ignores the fact that things like poverty, systematic oppression, or trauma can crush a person's ability to choose freely.
Okay, but what about the flip side? What's the case for existentialism? Why do people find it so powerful?
In a word, empowerment. It yanks you out of the passenger seat and puts you behind the wheel of your own life. It's telling you to stop waiting for the universe or society or anyone else to tell you what matters. You get to decide what's significant. It is a radical call to live an authentic life, one that's built on your values, not somebody else's.
So we've gone through the ideas, the arguments for and against, but at the end of the day, existentialism isn't just some dusty old theory. It's a challenge. It's a direct confrontation with your own life.
And if you remember one thing, let it be this. This is the absolute bottom line. Existentialism doesn't give you easy answers or warm, fuzzy feelings. It gives you a challenge. If meaning isn't just handed to you on a silver platter, then it's up to you to make it. That awesome and, yeah, kind of terrifying task falls squarely on your shoulders.
And that leads us right to the final question, the only one that really matters, and the one this whole explainer has been building towards. This isn't about Sartre or philosophy textbooks anymore. It's about you, right now. Because every choice you make, and every choice you don't make, is building the person you are. It's creating your meaning. So I'll leave you with this. What meaning are you creating?